Hello and welcome to RPG Tips again. And actually welcome to Bite Size Solo, a show in which we discuss a lot of information about solo role-playing games, but very quick. I am Jose and I will be your host. Since this is the first episode, let me give you a brief overview of what the show will contain. It's going to be divided in 4 sections. Books and stuff, where I take a look at rule sets and products regardless of whether they are solo-oriented or not, and discuss how and why they can be used for solo playing. The random table, where each episode we will elevate a single random table amongst all others as a glorious example of the craft. Cool things from outside, with interesting links to blog posts or solo actual plays, so you can see how other people play or think instead of just me. And lastly, small bits, very specific and little ideas that I've jotted down as time goes by on how to improve our games. In future episodes we may include other small segments like interviews with relevant creators and players. And the rule set of the day is Kevin Crawford's complete line of product from Sine Nomine Publishing. I know I've already talked about him extensively, but let me explain why I think it's great if you're new. Let's assume that you're already familiar with the Mythic Game Master Emulator and you want to, well, just be able to play as you did with your friends, roll up your adventurer, play some classical modules, or even play a 5e adventure. Kevin's system is basically a combination of old school D&D plus Traveller, with included optional rules to allow a single character to have as much strength and survivability as a party of 4. What this means is that you can still play with the same encounter intuition for balance as if you were GMing for a party of 4 without worrying about your character. But, some of you may be saying, why do you recommend his whole line instead of just Scarlet Heroes, which is a product that is actually focused on solo playing? Well, because I wanted to give you more options. If you just want to spend a bit of money and get a complete solo-friendly package, Scarlet Heroes is for you. It's great. But Scarlet Heroes is not free. And Kevin has a combination of products that allows you to play a solo-friendly game in several settings completely for free. First, Exemplars and Eidolons is a free book that contains the rules modifications to old-school D&D to play solo that are contained in Scarlet Heroes. So just with that and any other OSR rule set, like basic fantasy role-playing game, you could be playing a fantasy solo game for free. But there is more. Then you also have free versions of Stars Without Number to play sci-fi, Worlds Without Number in the near future as a complete fantasy product, and even Godbound to play as a god, for free. So getting familiar with this product line can, literally, give you years of solo fun without spending anything. Not that you should, of course. I mean, Kevin's games are wonderful and we should all bury him in money. For more information on the added benefits of Sine Nomine Publishing, check my previous video on random tables. As for the product of the day, the winner of the first episode is Into the Weird and Wild by Charles Avery. This does to forests what Veins of the Earth, which is a masterpiece that we may cover in another episode, does to the underground. This is, it gives you the mechanics, tools, random tables, enemies, and descriptions to transform a normal environment like forest into a magical, creepy, mysterious, and overall extremely interesting setting. It is one of my favorite books, and in another timeline where I have 36 hours a day, I'm sure I would write an equivalent for Aquatic Adventure, since I love and fear the ocean equally. The PDF of Into the Weird and Wild is around $15 on drive-thru. It's 240 pages and it's intended to be used either with OSR rule sets or with D&D 5th edition. Even then, the mechanics are so simple and flavorful that it would be quite easy to port them to other systems. Some of my favorite highlights are the forest as a dungeon generation process it contains to create interesting point crawls and the hunting and body cleaning mechanics to get supplies and exotic body parts, with which you could perfectly have a Witcher style game. So, Into the Weird and Wild is our product of the day. We now switch to a random table, or actually a set of random tables, single pointers that can make your adventures better. For this episode, I've chosen something that solves one of the most difficult situations I've had to answer when GMing or solo playing, and the characters reach your library. What interesting books do we find? I don't have a problem with improvising, but once I had to generate a whole library because a character was a literal god who could absorb all the knowledge inside. And well, it is hard and quite cumbersome to do. So now what I do is the following. I use Dark Passages, a 4-page PDF supplement for Shadow of the Demon Lord, a very nice rule set from Robert Schwalb, that has 14 small random tables that tell you everything about a single book. Its form, its condition, its cover, the number of authors, the themes, illustrations, materials, everything. So if I now need to generate a book quickly, I just use my scripts and boom, I get a new book instantly. Flavorful, quick and cheap. For this episode, being the first, I wanted something exemplar. I wanted a link that showed what Mythic and in general solo playing could accomplish. And for that, I hold very dearly in my heart a specific playthrough that's in a forum of a story set in the Dragonlance universe, which for you young people that watch this is an old D&D setting with a bunch of cool nobles and cocaine-addicted halflings, which are called Kenders. This playthrough uses Mythic as the oracle and a rule set that I adore called Legends of Angler, which is basically how to do fantasy using Fate. I'll leave a link below and I wholeheartedly recommend that you read it. Now for this section I'm literally taking lines from my solo role-playing OneNote notebook in which I just jot down random stuff that I consider valuable. I would show you some examples, but I don't want to spoil future episodes. For today I selected what I called heroic mode when I was DMing a 5th edition game with some friends. The cleric, Crackston, a grave cleric, went on a mission on his own through the desert to become a high priest of his order. Now we all know how important action economy is in 5th edition and in a lot of games. So what I did, 1, to overcome that, and 2, and much more important, to make him feel badass, was take the 3 action scheme of Pathfinder 2nd edition and plug it in the game. Now the enemies only had 1 action and he had 3, and he felt basically like John Wick meets zombies. It was glorious and it helped him survive. So if you're looking for a quick fix in most systems to make your solo hero survive more, just give him more actions. You can condense them in just a single turn or spread them along the round. But giving him more opportunities of doing things is going to increase the heroic tone of your game and help with game balance, since most games are created with a party in mind, which is something that we'll talk about in another video. And that was the first episode of Bite-Sized Solo. I thought about this format because honestly there are so many things that I want to tell you about solo games that if I have to make a video essay of 20 minutes about each thing, I'd have to basically quit from my day job and dedicate my life to this. Which, hey, if you're open to me opening a Patreon account, we could talk about it, but I mean, I'm digressing. If you want to see more Bite-Sized Solo, upvote, share, subscribe, whatever you want. I don't know if anybody has noticed it, but I am uploading a video each time I gain 100 new subscribers, and the next milestone is 1000, so who knows, I may have something special prepared for that. And basically if you want more videos, just make more people subscribe because then I'll be forced to upload one faster. Stay tuned. If you want to give ideas for future videos, hop by the Discord server, link on the description, or just leave a comment. As always, I hope you had fun, I hope you learned something, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye bye.